Good morning, everybody. Today's topic is consignment. This is a model that works, I think, no matter where you live, but you need to come up with an advertising model to get stuff to come to you. Yesterday, I had 67 pairs of shoes come in, and I tried a couple things and that I want to share with you guys. So the first thing I did was, I'm going to record this, but it's only for our um, per internal use for the mastermind group. So yesterday I did 67 items um, on internal. What's up, Dan? Consignment. I'm glad Dan is here, guys. Dan runs an awesome brick and mortar store in Massachusetts called UMass. Dan, you should put your store in the chat. It's awesome, super cool. And I'll have Dan go in a moment because his store is very inspirational.
Is
So
that,
60.
is that the baseball hat store?
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's really cool. Even from over here in the UK, it looks awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. So Dan, maybe you can go
I
ahead.
used to live in Boston as well, so next time I'm there, I'm definitely going to go and visit.
Cool. Thank. Can you hear me? I'm sorry,
Yeah.
guys.
Morning, Dan. How are you?
Oh, how's it going?
Doing awesome. So yesterday I turned consignment in over the weekend. So yesterday I went to my PO box and there were 67 items from internal consignment to go through. So I tried something with my wife. I actually read her the condition, brand. So I'll go over what I did. So she sat at the computer at home, and I read her the specifics of the item. So I did Nike men's Air Force One size 12. I read her the item number, and gave her the color 1 and color 2. I'm actually going to change this to color 1 and material. Because I realized halfway through that I want to add like canvas or suede or whatever leather to the title. So I read her this over the phone. I have a drop down for conditions. So new with box, new without box, new with defect, or pre-owned. Those are the 4 conditions I'm going to use for shoes. Then the note, and then I have a defect column. So I'm going to come up with more defects, but one defect is no insole. And if the item is under $100, I'm going to reject all insoles. So I'm going to put that in here. So under 100, market, straight reject. So these items are awesome, but they have no insole. So I just offered a flat. So then once I had this up, I realized a couple things. If I only sell in the shoe category, I can look on the most popular sites. So when I grade here, I'm going to grade against a few different sites. So I'm going to use eBay, StockX, GOAT, and Google. And I'm also going to use the tool Snap Seller Tools. Snap Seller Tools for pricing. So I opened up all these in different tabs to get an idea of the price. And I searched without the, let's see, I'm going to put this in the notes here. Search the style number first, then size. So I'm trying to narrow down a way to research the price. And then Jeffrey Anderson, is Jeffrey Anderson in the group here today? He is here. So we were talking about uploading a spreadsheet to Snap Seller Tools instead of doing it one by one. And maybe it can shoot back all the pricing, whether instead of us manually looking one by one, because that's time consuming. Anyway, my idea was, I wonder how long it takes with 2 people. And we did 67 items in 50 minutes. So under an hour for me to fill out this whole thing, which is essentially all of the titles and grading. It took another 45 minutes for me to do the pricing the first time because I was researching different websites for each one, but definitely less than a minute. So this gave me the idea of at ThreadUp, they have a job called retail clerk. ThreadUp. This is a person that checks the items into inventory. Awesome. So John says that we can maybe upload a spreadsheet later. So the person that checks the item in the inventory is called the retail clerk at ThreadUp. I'm glad that Dan is here because he has a store that probably has a retail clerk too. Some items come in, they check it into the system. And so I'm going to copy the job description from ThreadUp and then hire someone here to do that, shoes only. So now I need to get shoes to come in either through the mail or people to show up and price. And so this is the interesting part that I wanted to share with consignment. So the market value, I'm going to offer 30% of what I think it's going to sell for if it's cash, and 60% on consignment. So it's almost like you make twice as much money if you pay for the item up front, but then you also have to absorb the risk of using your own money for it. So this is an interesting model. If you get, and I want everyone in the group to have the option to offer consignment, but the hard part with consignment is bookkeeping and accounting. So ideally, once a month, the checks would be automated. So on January 1st, all the checks that go out to your clients are done. And good question, Scott. No shipping costs. And I don't know what I should do with the inbound shipping. That's another question. So maybe people have some feedback there, because he used one person used the FedEx FedEx freight, which was $370 from New York, and that was 40 by 40 by 40. This is Gaylord. So I paid $370 from New York City. That was the first time. I don't think that's the cheapest rate, but they delivered the box to that guy's storage. He filled it with shoes and sent it back. Cost $370. The other pairs of shoes came from Hawaii and cost $300 for the inbound shipping. So I paid $670 up front for these shoes. And yesterday the value came to around $4 or $5 grand. So it's I don't know about the inbound shipping. If you had a brick and mortar store, then you have the cost of the brick and mortar store to operate and versus, because essentially I would need a retail clerk too to check the items in, but I would be paying for marketing instead of the store to get items to come to me. So this is just a thought. I think everyone in the store should be able to offer consignment. That should be part of your skill set. And then for me, I'm thinking ThreadUp is offering only 10% on consignment for items under $20, under $50, pretty much. So that's horrible. Can you imagine sending in your item and getting 10% like 11 months later? That's how long it takes for them to sell your item, a whole year. So, but they're able to do it. That's how many people have items that are under $50, millions of people. So that's a thought. Maybe we'll start with Dan. Dan, welcome to the call. What are you working on, and are you guys still closed?
What's going on? So we actually just transitioned. We were basing our decision on our own policies along with the state's policy. Massachusetts did go back to phase 2, or they upgraded to phase 2. So retail stores were able to open up, like partially. You kind of have to have like different rules and whatnot, but we're now open by appointment only, which is kind of nice because we get to focus on the areas that we want to work on with all of our time. So if we don't have an appointment plan, we're going to keep doing e-commerce, either website or eBay stuff. But if there is an appointment, we just have someone on the floor, and people come in with their mask on and make them wear gloves, or we give them gloves, and they just shop around. It's kind of nice. Or same thing, they can bring stuff in to buy or trade, which is really cool, especially while we're closed, to not have to take the risk or go out and go thrifting or try to source elsewhere. So
How do people know? Can they make an appointment on your website?
I have to thank you, actually. You put me onto Calendly,
Yep.
and that has been amazing. I definitely should add a tab to the website that links to the Calendly, but for now, I've just been throwing things in our Instagram story and then making like a highlight that says make an appointment. So people go on there and they can swipe up to our Calendly. It has the link provided, and then we have the hours open that we're kind of already going to be at the shop. It's like kind of Monday through Saturday, 9 to 3 ish. If something else comes up, we wall it off or whatever. We are like 2 or 3 weeks away from our first child, so trying to navigate that as well and like not be locked down in the shop necessarily at all times. So, but it's been great. I mean, just to give people the option to come in finally, and vintage is the type of thing where you kind of like to see it in person before buying. I totally understand.
Absolutely.
So.
So how do you do comps or sales comps if there's not a lot of inventory that is similar? In vintage, I assume there are some items that you can't find it.
No, yeah, it's definitely um, mostly based on just like past experience and like market experience, or it really can be so like it can be so different account to account or store to store, I suppose. Like certain people in California might be able to get $200 at this point on like a mid 2000s video game or movie or TV T-shirt, because that's kind of the market. But us, maybe we or someone else might put it at $50 or something. So I wouldn't say that there's a straight price across the board for most vintage items. eBay is good for to get the comps on, especially heavy hitters. A
Mm,
lot of things you can kind of go through there and be like, okay, that's a guarantee. But something like a video game tee, for example, like if someone thrifts it for $1 and they don't mind making 30 on it, and there's no comps on it, someone can flip that for 90 if they have the right account. If they have that nostalgic type vibe, early 2000s, because that's vintage now account.
mm.
People, especially with thrifts being closed, have been like online sniping, and if they can get that tee for $30 and then go flip it for 90, that's a great flip. So it's interesting.
Dan, I came into some really rare sports hats, and I came into this problem. I couldn't find any comps for it. It was like a 1996 NBA All-Star game
Mhm.
hat, but it said season ticket holder on it. And
Oh, that's cool.
I already sold it to my friend. I had no idea what to charge. I think I sold it for $30.
That's
But
not bad.
I
I
didn't.
think
That wasn't too low, right?
no. I'd say the only things of that nature that are like skyrocketing right now would be if it had Chicago Bulls, and it was like because the Last Dance really like hiked everything like that up. But 30's fair. If it was like really, had a great design or was the right brand, maybe $50 or whatever. But for the most part, if it's not a crazy, above average hat, they're usually around like 25, $30, even when they're vintage.
What you mentioned a brand. What are the best like vintage hat brands?
Dollar wise, like the ones that will get you the highest market value are going to be Starter, Sports Specialties, Logo Athletic. But even within those brands, it can be a $20 hat or it could be a $300 hat. So Logo Athletic is a brand in particular. I don't know if anyone will remember, they made like the splash or paintbrush hats and then the shark tooth hats.
I do remember those.
So those are like the top tier Logo Athletic. If you ever find a splash or a shark tooth, unless it's like maybe a NASCAR or something, it's gonna get 50 plus. But then you have brands like Mitchell and Ness, Zephyr. A lot of brands redid these style hats, so people think, oh, it's one for one for one. Logo Athletic is really the only one that's going to get you the true market value, because that's the one that Troy Aikman and Drew Bledsoe and everyone was wearing on the sidelines. They're like the originals. So, but in the same rate, some Logo Athletic hats that have a little LA, but it's just a plain logo, it might be $20. So brand is good to know for like pass or cop or whatever, but it can, if you can't find the comps, it's kind of just like you got to know someone who knows it or have experience with the hat. So
And dead stock, if it was like with unused with tags on it, does that raise it like 20%, 30%? What would you say?
I would say, yeah. And it's tricky because some brands put the tags into the hat air holes, even from the get go. Like the stores in the 1990s were getting them shipped and the tags were in the air holes. But then other brands shot it directly into the hat. So some people like to, you can wear it 10 times, and if you didn't sweat into it, stick the tag back in that air hole and it's dead stock. So if you find Logo Athletic was a brand that did shoot into the front. So if you find a dead stock Logo Athletic, that means it's literally never the tag has not ever been removed, and that those definitely call for higher market value because it's just so few and far between for true dead stock.
I love this so much because I was talking to Jackie yesterday about she's trying to pick a niche for her store, and she's she was wondering what she should sell. But I think a lot of resellers start as collectors. Dan started as a hat collector. He knows everything about hats. I feel like have 95th percentile knowledge on shoes. That really helps because you can get a home. Who wouldn't know that you could sell a hat for $300? You know what I mean, or more. Sorry, Dan, I muted you. But Dan, what are your goals for the rest of 2020? I mean, things have changed.
Absolutely. I'd say we definitely would like to continue this steady pace. We have like 3 or 4 appointments a day during the week now, which is very nice. We can either expect a little bit of inventory or just to have some traffic and some extra money. But I'm really trying to keep building on our eBay. When we opened the store last September, we had totally shut it down. We were dealing with like issues with double sales, and it was just more of a headache than anything. So I ended everything we have, and now we're back up to about 2,500 items. So we're slowly trying to build it up. I'd like to get to like 4,000 active by the end of the year, if possible, which I think at our pace is going to be okay. And maybe just trying to curate more collections through our website. Every 3 weeks now, we do a 100 hat drop on the site, which has been very successful because we can really, I kind of concentrate the collections. We do corduroy hats, hometown hats, plain logo hats, and splash hats, like always. So if you want those, you got to kind of wait for the 3 weeks. And then we do Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, otherwise at 8 p.m. for regular hat drops. So we found a rhythm with the hats, and I'd really like to get into that with another category of gear, maybe like jerseys, shorts, whatever area of clothing. But
How do
um,
people know that on your website?
that's so I'm now working on a graphic. I made one yesterday, and it looked a little goofy because I made it like through some phone apps and Instagram or whatever. But I was going to put out a calendar for July and August with
Mm,
a hat symbol on every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday with the time, and then on the Saturday, every third Saturday, signify like the 100 hat drop or whatever. So, um, but
awesome.
otherwise, I kind of like as much as it's good to put out the exact specifics on when things drop so people don't miss them. It is good to almost like keep people on the line per se. It's like when you have people who follow the Instagram, they watch all the stories, they're interacting with your posts, so they're not just ghosting you and stuff. Like I really enjoy when those people get the product that they quote unquote like worked hard to get. The 100 hat drops are on Saturdays at noon, and there's a huge boom in hat collectors in New Zealand right now, and those people have to set alarms for 3:45 a.m. for our 100 hat drop, and they do it, and like they place the order. It's 12:02, and they get the hat that they want, and they DM us and they're like, yo, like set an alarm for 3:45, and I got the hat. I'm pumped, heading back to bed. Like, thank you guys, you're the shit. And we're like, that's there can be no excuse for American buyers, or when someone says like, ooh, 12 is so early, like, dude, this guy woke up at 3:45 a.m.
I'm going to put this in the chat. This is an article that called 1,000 True Fans. And it's really cool for creators to read this because you only need 1,000 customers to make 6 figures. If you can make $100 on each customer per year. So if you sell really curated stuff, you can do this and have a much more peaceful life, but of more expensive, better stuff where people really support you. Someone who wakes up at 3:45, I would consider a true fan of
Yeah,
what you do.
absolutely. Yeah. Or
That's
the market is so saturated right now with everyone buying hats, especially internationally. And if they never produced them in your country, the only way you can get them is the internet, and you're kind of stuck. So it's cool.
awesome. Great goals for the rest of the year. What do you need to do anything different to go from 25 to 4,000?
I don't believe so. About a month ago, we did start to have my wife's little sister take some extra photos for us. So she's shooting about 100 items a week. Whether we use them like the direct week after, or just kind of have the photos stashed for eBay, it's kind of nice. we've been trying to get all the extra work done that we can before the baby or whatever. So I set those goals too. Without, we're about to totally switch our lives, so who knows how that's going to transition. But um, I think we can get there.
I also want to, maybe this is inspirational. I would say that I didn't meet a single seven-figure owner at eBay Open that didn't have at least two kids. All of them have kids. So sometimes people think of that. But again, it's always a team effort. Somehow they've figured out how to manage having kids and building a business at the same time. But very cool. I'm gonna find the interview. Guys, Dan was gonna be like a high-end dairy farmer. It's so funny that you are doing this right now.
Yeah, yeah. I could be out on farms making rations as a nutritionist, I suppose. But
I never thought that would be a thing, but it makes sense how important cows are.
uh, I'd make the counter argument now, but
I know, right? Well, thank you so much for sharing. And so the point of these calls is to share something that you're improving. So what are you improving right now or focusing on?
I think we are trying to become a little bit more like curate, like buy quote unquote more expensive things. So we used to just whatever hats were clean, throw them up for the next drop, and it was just like a day to day type situation. But now I think we really have kind of, I don't want to say cornered the market, but we're getting top dollar on a lot of our gear that we weren't necessarily, or it might have been sitting around a little bit longer by doing these drops. Um, I wasn't super into previews before, but now we do like a whole week's preview leading up to the 100 hat drop, and we do a raffle. So starting tonight, we have a drop at 8 p.m. When you buy any hat from the website, doesn't have to be from the new drop, you get a free raffle entry. And then on Sunday, we pick someone to win a $80 gift card to the website just because they like bought a hat or whatever. So even the little things like that, um, I think helps just get some more traffic to the website and whatnot.
Can I ask you how much of your business comes from your Instagram versus your website? Because I went to follow your Instagram and I was actually already following it.
We only make sales through the Instagram, through the website now. We used to be through the DM, but it was just so chaotic that nowadays, like I suppose the Instagram really is just a platform for the website. It's almost like our way of advertising what goes on there. Definitely need to or would like to get into YouTube. We did make a TikTok, and as much as like TikTok can be great for business, I think our business in particular isn't great for that, because like when you put up stuff for sale, if people don't like think about it in terms of our hats, everything is one off. So if I'm going for a hat, especially on like Saturday's drop where a bunch of people have already seen the preview, I don't want to touch any post that has to do with pushing that hat to other people as a customer. Because then if I like it, if I retumble it, reshare it, I might not get it. So when we put out on TikTok, new hats at 8, people might like it, but they're not gonna like put it on their own feed. They'll never reshare it. They'll never retumble it because they're either not interested, or if they are, they don't want anyone else to know about it. Really, like they might want to support the business, but they don't want to lose out. So that's not our platform necessarily. And it would be good to find another one similar to Instagram where people interact very naturally and kind of shop at their own pace or desire.
Another thing that Dan does is really cool is that sometimes you can get a deal. So I wanted to share this store. This is Lux Swap in Long Island. They do consignment for higher end items, and they've been doing it for 20, 22 years or something. But this gentleman was saying that he gets insane top dollar because he's been doing the same thing for a long time. But sometimes the auctions do not end very high. So someone gets a good deal. But he's like, that's fine because people tune in every single week. And because he's able to get top dollar, he can give people a good deal sometimes and is not so worried about it because he's known for luxury menswear. And that's just a thought that if you become known for something, you can get top dollar, and that can offset some of the door busters that people do.
Absolutely.
Cool. Let's go with Shani. Shani, good morning. What are you improving?
I'm going to print out the way I photographed shirts today, so that the little girl that came over, she did jeans for me last time, and all I did was print out my Trello board, and she did it perfectly. So now I'm going to do it with shirts and see how that goes.
Awesome. How is Trello?
I'm just learning, so it's kind of cool because you can put photos in, and then you can make it look. The nice thing about it is the way it looks. So, but I just printed it out, so she didn't even see Trello. It's more for me. The Trello is more for myself.
Okay, I want to share this because this is cool. Yesterday I had a consulting call with an only, an only car audio guy. This is interesting. So he is in Australia, and he has a couple of projects that I wanted to share, which is cool. So he has a car stereo business. He installs people's car stereos. It makes multiple six figures. He's very successful, but he's trading time for money, and he wants to switch into online store. So right now he has 250 replenishables. He only sells replenishables for cars, like spark plugs, whatever. He's adding that in. So right now what he's doing is he's recording how to optimize a listing, and then he's going to train a VA to do that. So his goal is 250 replenishables in his store. He has a YouTube channel that, like, every video he posts has 20 to 100,000 views. They're all car repair evergreen videos, which is very cool. So he's going to use Trello to organize his ideas. This is an example of what you would do. So I was saying the way a lot of programmers do this is whatever they're working on, let's say he's working on listing optimization, he'll move it to doing. Maybe he'll have a done section. So he'll work on this and then move it to done when it's done, or move it back into the whatever he's working on. So you could have a different one for photos, shipping, whatever, until you have a process that's legit. So he's going to do this first, and then afterwards he's going to transition this into a Google document for people to help him do it. One last thought on that, which is his car stereo business bills $3,000 a day in they charge that much. And if he steps away from the business, he can't charge $3,000, because if he's doing the work, people will pay $3,000 for it. And that's not all profit. Obviously that includes some other stuff in it. But somebody told me, somebody that was running the junk removal out of my old storage was saying he had the same thing. He could build $3,000 a day himself if he was going to pick up people's junk, load the truck, go to the dump, all that stuff. But having somebody else do it, he could only charge $2,000 instead of $3,000 a day. But he scaled to 16 trucks going out there to get stuff for him. And then his storage unit, he's actually not a reseller. He sorts it at his storage units for other resellers. So resellers go and pick up all the scrap metal, all the appliances, all the vintage audio, whatever. He's making more money from the junk removal than he is from reselling. So he decided that he's going to partner with resellers for each specific niche. And it also makes sense that people who are in a specific niche can pay more. So Matt could pay more for a pair of jeans because he can sell them for top dollar. Whereas, we might be afraid to pay $20 for a pair of jeans that Matt might pay $40 for because he knows it's fine if it's some rare breed. Anyway, that was just a thought, because Trello is really cool. Thank you, Shani. Where did you find this girl to help?
She homeschools with my kids.
Awesome. Mac, let's talk about that for a moment. Mac, what are you working on? It's been a while.
Yeah, I had a crazy busy couple weeks. I'm working on getting all the inventory I have listed, probably flush with inventory, but low on the listings. So goal is to get to 1,000 listings. At 400 now, which is nowhere close to where I need to be. But as far as my question about junk removal, that's where my biggest inventory sources have been, is just being the guy for liquidation, and usually it's local businesses. So that has been phenomenal. Got the website up, got business cards, and then with no advertising or anything. I just went to people I know and just, hey, I do this, hey, I do this. And that ended up being two really big liquidations, buying in mostly used electronics. That's what I'm going for. I also did try a neighborhood here in Austin. I kind of did mailers, but just put them on the doorstep, just saying, hey, I clear out used electronics, and then did what I clear out. And so I tried the commercial route and the residential route. Commercial route has been more positive. So kind of expanding on that, and then just getting listings up. So gold to 1,000, and then expand commercial liquidation.
That is such a good idea. That goes back to, if you go residential, you're probably not going to get a home run ever,
Mhm.
but you will with a business. You can get lucky.
It did lead to a few people reaching out, and it was cool. I did it to a close neighborhood to where I live in Austin, Texas. I went upper middle class as far as price range of homes, and the response was really positive. I'd say for my response rate was 3 out of 50 that I dropped, which I think is
Wow.
really high. 2 ended up leading to inventory runs, and it was, I would say, like, if I wanted to keep doing that, it wasn't negligible. It was just the commercial side is so much bigger. Like the residential side, I think one was 3 laptops and a printer, and then the other one was something similar, a couple cell phones, in working condition. I mean, one was a MacBook that didn't have an OS, and I cleaned it and updated it, and it was sold as a refurbished MacBooks, which is awesome. But the commercial side, it's like, hey, come pick up 100 computers, 200 computers. So it's like, it's not that residential is negligible, but if you have the commercial connections, it's much more, it's huge.
Are you paying for any of that stuff, or it's all given to you?
I'm paying for, I haven't gotten any free runs yet, but it's pennies on the dollar. I mean, I'm going in low and saying, free pickup as well. So it's, and there's usually a little bit of negotiation, but they're usually pretty pleased with, I mean, like you said, the clothing consignment store getting 10%, I'm paying, 25%, 20% of what sale price would be. So, I'd say the margin is pretty good.
I feel like every single small business is a mess.
Yeah.
If you look at it, it looks horrible because it's just so hard to run a business. So I imagine a commercial clean out that offers cash for something you'd get a positive response.
3%. I don't want to go ahead.
Go ahead.
I don't want to take too much time, but I would have one of the kind of the uncomfortable things that I did was, like, every time I would go to get coffee at like a Starbucks or something like that, I would ask them if they had electronics in the back. And again, the response rate was crazy. Like, they usually had some kind of POS system or it was usually a POS system or networking equipment and a phone system. Everybody kind of had the old one in the back. Rarely did they not have one in the back. And and one of those did end up, it was like a coffee shop. It wasn't a Starbucks, but it was just a local coffee shop. And they sold me an Ingenico, whatever the card swipe, and then a router because they had updated. And that's same day sales stuff. I mean, that's stuff with such a high volume. I love playing in this space, but that's something to think about too.
I will do a lot more homework on finding more commercial clean out people, because I met a lot of junk removal people at eBay Open. It's a very common category, business clean out. And when I was in New York City, I worked for this company that gave out business loans, and I would say like 10% of people you call will take your call. That's insanely high for cold calling. Right? If you call and like, hey, we offer financing for small businesses, do you guys need extra money? It's like 1 out of 10 people was like, hey, customer, leave. I need to find out if I can get some capital for my business, because they need it. So I imagine you'd have a really high success rate if you're just buying stuff they don't use.
100%. It solves a problem on a lot of ends. But as far as junk removal goes, I don't know how to differentiate between, you know, paying for the inventory and then getting paid for junk removal. There's kind of a chasm between there, in my understanding.
Let me look here.
How do you handle the data side? Do you remove the data as a service?
That's probably one of the things I don't understand. I'm not getting paid to remove anything. I'm more paying for the, you know, the value in the electronic. And I do wipe it before I resell it. But I don't advertise as a data removal service for these businesses. Although if they ask, you know, of course it's removed and wiped because my purpose is to resell it. But I'd be interested in, I know there's value in data removal, so I'd also be interested in, you know, kind of swinging that side of the sale.
Yeah, that's what we do. That's our niche.
It's fascinating.
The junk removal company here said they do 100% of their marketing on Yelp.
Interesting.
So people look for moving help or whatever. And I'm just looking right now. There's a button here that says certified professional for Jose Diaz hauling. It's pretty straightforward. It's just probably just him. And this picture is amazing. And he has 290 reviews already. So I'm thinking, oh, I guess this is also literally removing like junk. But this certified professional button. Oh, here we go. Services offered, verified. Appliance removal, commercial services. So with Brooks, it might say like data removal, something like that.
Yeah, we're starting to get a lot of gear from companies that are closing down and going all remote. So I'm starting to put some like marketing.
Oh. How do you
Brooks, would
feel
you
that? Go ahead, Brooks.
I was going to say, go guys.
No, basically partnering with real estate brokers, saying because they're the ones that manage the leases, and real estate brokers then say, "Hey, I got a lead for you," and I call them and boom, get it. Almost every
Amazing.
week, I'm getting a deal like this. You know, it's only like 40 or 50 PCs, but it might be worth, you know, $4 or $5 grand a pop per deal.
Very cool. I wonder, I never thought of that. I know that video conferencing equipment's on fire, but I wonder about, because they say 25% of businesses will close or downsize because of this situation. What does that mean for equipment wise in their stores? I don't know. I also didn't think about what Mac had mentioned, which is the fact that most businesses are retail shops. Like you drive around, so that means what are they doing if they can they even do it remote? I don't know how you would. Our pizza joint's moving into our garage. Takeout delivery only. I don't know. It's interesting how that will work. So many retail spots. Brooks, what are your goals for the second half of the year? And what are you working on?
I'm just working on some unique offerings for school districts on going remote. So there's so much technology in schools that's just dead waste right now. And I'm dealing with people that are on state contracts with the schools to come up with unique offerings on how to get that technology in my hands.
Okay, love it.
Yeah, it's kind of a big thing, but mainly right now I've just been, you know, I've gone from managing like 3 people to like 10 people with all these interns in. It's driving me crazy, but come next month I'll go back to school and then I'll cut my payroll probably in half and just use them as needed. So pretty stoked about that.
How do you manage time with the new baby?
Monday, Wednesday, Friday at the house until 12. And then I pretty much have them from, you know, 5:30 a.m. until I go to work. And then at night, 5 until 7.
Got you.
But we're losing our babysitter who babysits 3 days a week because she's going off to college. So me and my wife got to get ahead of that because that's a blessing to have her.
Yeah, fair enough. Cool. Let's go to Mac again. Mac, what are you improving right now?
Hey.
Improving definitely my listing processes.
Let me get off this real quick. and I will.
My wheelhouse is definitely in inventory procurement. It just comes naturally, but actually sitting down and listing, but it's kind of a tough time right now. My girlfriend just went through surgery, so where she works full time in the business, I'm having to pick up some slack, but I like that I can provide that for her while she recovers. But at the same time, it's made me very aware of my shortcomings on certain areas where it's like, oh man, I'll walk around all day and make the connections and buy stuff. But right now we have an inventory room full of to be processed inventory. So what I'm improving is okay, I need some systems in place and I need some daily goals instead of these, grandiose goals.
How'd you convince your girlfriend to work with you?
I gave her money. No,
That's the golden rule.
Right. No, actually, I was doing this on my own, and I have just been kind of an entrepreneur from day one, whether it's a small business. And she was in my life and working, a full-time job. And she was like, why don't we make it bigger and I'll work under it with you? So it was actually her idea, because she's kind of just the world's best support system. So from then we've been just cruising.
That's so awesome. I love it.
Yeah. Got lucky.
Very supportive. Amazing. Cool. Let's go with Mark. Mark, good morning. What are you working on? Clean shaven?
Yeah. Oh, wow. A little bit. It's growing back now. Well, I'm this week I'm building a website, or I'm continuing to work on that, the inbound lead generation, and working with my goal board. And I've got a goal to buy at least 6 more $30 profit items by the end of the week. Really, that's my focus this week, are those 3 items.
Awesome. Let's go with Jackie. Jackie, good morning. What are you improving?
Good morning. I'm going to improve the thought, or like we talked yesterday about identity, that I own a store, and just let that kind of permeate into what I do, versus before where I'm like, I just gotta list things and sell. So I'm gonna just kind of improve the mentality, or I guess the perspective aspect of it, just to kind of see how that changes things. And really just list as much as I can, because I'm seeing now the amount of work ahead, because I did jump into this pretty quick without any safety net. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Awesome. So guys, yesterday we worked on building a schedule for Jackie, and she's going to time block listing time and then also sourcing time. And I think that is a good way to split up your day. And for Jackie, I have her sourcing half the day because she needs to learn that. So if I was coaching Mac, I would do the opposite. I would be like, you need to source only 2 hours a day, and the rest of your day, get your process and other stuff in check. Depending on where you are, your day is going to look a little different. But I love the idea of being more of a store mentality, because you're just a lot different if you're the store owner versus a flipper.
And today I'm going to be doing some of that stuff with my aunt, where we're just going to go through her clients' inventory and list and see what I can take and things like that. So I think going with the fact that I'm a store owner will just change my demeanor, versus like, I just need money and what can I sell? It's definitely got a different vibe to it.
Awesome. Love it. Let's go with Melinda. Melinda, good morning. What are you improving?
Good morning. So this week I'm working on getting more. I've been doing a lot of liquidation auctions to get most of our more profitable items. So I've been working kind of through that process, because there's like a learning curve with, when you get those things and they're packaged, the package isn't always great. So you have to figure out how to list it and how to send it in so it sells right on Amazon. So I've been working through that and just getting more and more of those. As we sell more, I have more money to work with. And then still a balance of getting the products, but then also listing and getting that all online, so my husband's been getting things at estate sales, and some of that is really profitable, some of it's not. So figuring out the balance of what's most important first, but not having things sit there for a month, that kind of thing. So.
How are you managing your day right now?
So what I've been doing is just getting up first thing in the morning. Within 30 minutes, I get out to the garage and start prepping stuff. And I work there till it gets hot. So I have a good like 4 hours to prep and package things up to get to Amazon. And then I come inside and I work on listing other stuff that I've gotten from estate sales and things like that. That's where I get tripped up. When I'm focused working out in the garage, I'm on it. I'm not interrupted. But coming in the house, it's very easy to get distracted. I find myself, I've got to do something about my phone, you know, putting limits on that because it's easy to, you know, someone's responding on Facebook. I got this email from that, you know, so that's typically my day.
Can you arrange your pickups for the afternoon? Is that a thing?
Oh, I hadn't thought about that actually. Yeah, I usually been working kind of around people's schedules, and a lot of times, though, it's really not a big deal because it's a door pickup. People just come and grab it off the porch and leave the money, or they Venmo me.
Mm-hmm.
It's more like picking up that phone and getting distracted by that. That's my real issue. I'm kind of ADHD, so I forget what I'm doing, move on to something else, that kind of thing.
You know what's interesting, Melinda? If you are busy, your appointment show rate will go up and people will accept less. So
What do you mean?
like you can get a better deal if you are busy because people who think you're busy will accept less money for everything. Because when I was in the car business and I was scheduled, someone would be like, oh, I want to sell my car. What are your hours? And I would say, oh, we're by appointment only. Can you come at 4 p.m.? And they would be like, oh, okay. So they're already like, they're really busy and they don't need my car. But if other salespeople will say, oh, come in whenever you want, that person will never sell you their car. They'll never get to a deal. But if you're busy, everyone shows up. So I moved all my consignment deals to the afternoon now. So I don't know Dan, how do you organize appointments for your store?
We just do. I put out 9 to 3 just in case. We do ship in the afternoon usually, so if we didn't want to get stuck and have to, if we were making the mad dash for 5:30,
Mm-hmm.
there was someone there. You don't want to have to like go back and forth. So we just put it out. I mean, having the link there, I usually like once a day I'll put it out on the story just to remind people, hey, like. Or I had some like cool signage the other day, N64, Sega Genesis, metal signs, things that aren't like the greatest thing to ship. And I just said available in store only if you want to come by. Like, just little teasers or whatever. But
Okay.
I'd say Calendly is the go-to that kind of changed the game because you can waste so much time with people. How's 2:45? Just 3 o'clock, where working out of time. And then they show up kind of around the time rather than right on the time, and
Right.
it just it's so perfect. That you both get the confirmation email. It's very professional compared to just a conversation about meeting up.
I just realized I need to modify my Calendly so it sends more reminders.
Mhm.
I would love for it to give like a hour before the appointment, day before the appointment, so that the conversion rate goes up. And then, sorry, last question. Sorry to pick on you, Dan, so much. How many appointments do you want a day?
To be honest, what I was talking to these guys, I did ask people that they come in groups of 5 or less just to keep it not so chaotic within there. And if some people might not want anyone else in there with them, which I can understand. So I wish that we could have, if I knew someone was going to come in individually, or maybe they knew they'd only be in there for 15 or 20 minutes, I wish I could overlap. And I haven't looked into it. Maybe they allow you to, but right now they're hour time blocks. So you can book an hour, whether or not you're going to use the whole thing, but it then prevents someone else from booking an hour. So ideally we would have 9, 10, 11, 12, every hour on the hour, someone or a group coming in. But it's not perfect right now. So people, maybe they work regularly and they can't come in 9 to 3, or they had a time and someone already took it, or whatever the case is. So I do put out, if there's, if you can't make the times work with what we have available, please DM us and we can try to work something out. So
Awesome. Yeah, I think I would love that time to be booked solid. And I want to double book.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a little bit funky to do that, but I'm going to be like, I have 4 chairs ready for 4 people to be waiting. Ideally, I don't know if that's going to work or it's going to piss people off, but
Right.
we'll
Big
see.
store. I mean, at least in our case, if you're coming in groups of 1 or 2, there's no issue with
Right.
feeling overcrowded or whatever. So
Sounds good. Let's go with David Mueller. Good morning. What are you improving?
Good morning, everyone. One of the biggest improvements I've seen this week so far is I've been I like have a little piece of my right monitor dedicated to the time audit chart. The way Don said he always has it like pulled up on his monitor, and I feel like just like having that up and seeing what I'm doing and able to like log what I'm doing and being able to see that at all times really holds me accountable to, man, I've been slacking the past half hour. Okay, I gotta log that in there, on the phone or whatever. And then that just kind of reinforces, okay, time to get back to work. So I've been able to fill it out almost completely for the past week. There's been a couple gaps where I either like wasn't around to fill it out or there's issues, but I've seen time effectiveness improve. So I've been much more effective with my time. I wanted to say something about you were talking about commercial clean out stuff. So I like to go to like liquidation of businesses. And some backstory, I went to school and I got a degree in network engineering. So I know a lot about like routers, switches, kind of like the technical side of like the back of the business kind of. So it's kind of like a different perspective when you go into these business liquidations, because most people look at the goods that they're selling, but I'm like looking the next stage at, okay, I see some security cameras up there. I see in the back they've got like racks of like servers or switches. So then if you know like the different Cisco brands, like how new they are, because Cisco routers and switches, if they're relatively modern, they can go for a good amount of money. So being able to know about that kind of stuff really helps. And it is kind of difficult sometimes because usually there's like a wait list. So I'd recommend, if you guys are also looking for like that kind of technical stuff, ask the manager. And usually if you ask about a wait list, they know about it and they can put you on. Sometimes we'll do like a raffle or something, or like a name draw. So it's not always that you're going to be able to, but I've had quite a few successes. I don't know if you guys have Johnny Mac's around you, but they closed some stores around me the end of last year, and I was able to score a lot of really cool, like high-end audio equipment. It was like power over Ethernet alarms, like really weird stuff that sold for like $100-200 a unit that I've never seen before. I was just looking it up in the back room. So yeah, there's a lot of good money in technology, even if it looks a little old. People are interested still.
Absolutely. Let's go with Don. Don, good morning. What are you improving? Looks like you're taking a lot of notes.
Yeah, I was taking a lot of notes. I was getting a lot of good information today. Just ideas and things to try. The hard part is finding the time to try these things. As far as improving, right now I'm treading water. I got too much on my plate. With my third side hustle, I got to stop doing this. I need it. But I have to finish a commitment that it's going to yield a huge profit. But this happened last year. I do one of these big jobs in addition to my regular job plus eBay. It gets me in I regret it while I'm doing it, but after it's over, I'm glad and say I'll never do it again. But it's just the money opportunity is irresistible. So I'm just trying to not have my business eBay dip too much at the moment. So I'm just in panic mode right now, just burning myself to the end. But one thing that's really cool is you guys were talking about consignment, and a guy reached out to me, sort of somebody I know, and he noticed some equipment that I'm selling, and he has a surplus of this equipment. And so we set up a consignment deal. I went and picked up the first 2 pieces last night. You know, and he wrote everything. He wrote the description, and he used to be an eBay seller, and so yeah, and so that's cool. That's going to be a nice, you know, generation of cash. It's expensive radio equipment, repeaters, and things like that you know sell for quite a bit. And so, and you know, I tried the 30% model, you know, to buy it from him, but he didn't want to do that. He wanted to do a 60-40 split. So I didn't really know the numbers. I just kind of remembered from the call what you guys are talking about. But I'm looking forward to that. And I'm not gonna give those to my lister to photograph those. I'm gonna do those myself tonight, just 2 pieces, and get those listed.
I think that most people with good stuff are going to want the consignment model. So I'm excited for that, but it's going to be different.
Yeah, and I'm not even thinking about. I saw you talking about how to, you know, track the income, and I know it's just I haven't thought about that part of it, but I better try to get this refined. You know, get a system in place if this is going to happen. But it's only one guy right now, so I think I can manage it. Not like you guys getting, you know, just multiple people sending you stuff. So I think it should be easy to keep track of since it's just one guy, one guy with high end equipment.
Mm-hmm. Mark, I'm testing different software. I don't know. All of it looks horrible. I wish there was a consignment software that was like, okay, check the item in, boom, enter their information in, boom, enter their payment information, boom, done. Automatically updates, but it does that for some reason that doesn't exist. You know what has been more promising than consignment software has been restaurant software. There's so much restaurant software that's awesome. So I don't know if it could be converted or like a bagel shop has a more sophisticated POS than any consignment I've ever seen.
You know, my catering software, I need to think about that because I've got some pretty awesome catering software that allows me to. I'm going to look at that.
Yeah, maybe maybe we can convert one that was made for food services. It must be more money in food service software. I don't know why.
Hey, real quick, Chris, does your spreadsheet, does it have your consignment list on there?
Yeah. Oh no, I'll add it. I'm gonna the consignment. I'm gonna add 2 things. One is the consignment software. Here, let me write this down. And the other one is the calculator for how long things take.
Yeah, that'd be great because since this is new for me, this would be like good for me to like get it right from the start instead of build a big pile and then be, you know, trying to dig myself out of the hole. I could get this process refined from day one for once in my life, and that might be at least that's one thing I could learn from what you guys are talking about here. So
consignment
and at the beginning of this call, I was away from my desk. I was at my kitchen. Where will I find this video later on?
So I have a let me add that to my ridiculous list of things to do. For this call, I have a spreadsheet, and all of the information from the call is stored on the spreadsheet and a link to each video. So I'm still working on getting that organized.
Okay.
One more thought, Don, because Don's trying to build processes. Gary Keller, when he was trying to start his real estate company, he had all these businesses going. Each time he was working in a business, it would work. And when he moved to a different business, that business that he was just at would dip. And he said he called it whack-a-mole. He was like, I'm not getting anywhere. I'm like, every time I move, the other thing goes down. So for a year, he hired someone to follow him with a camera and write down all of the stuff that he was doing. Because he's like, someone needs to be able to do it when I'm not here. So for a year, that person followed him. Then he had a lawyer convert that information into a operating agreement for franchises. And that document made him $100 million because other people were able to copy what he did. He went from 7 franchises to 20,000 franchises after he had that thing set up because people could just literally copy what he did, which is like, what? But that's I also like that he does business meetings with his kid at school. I thought that was like badass. Like, you want to hang out with me? I don't give up my kid time, so we're gonna have to do lunch with my kid if that's cool with you. And I just like that's amazing. And he's like, some people have a problem with that, and I'm like, great, and we don't need to do business together because I there's just too many people to do business with. If you can't hang out with my kid for lunch, then too bad. Next.
Yeah.
So,
Plus, his kid can learn how to deal,
yeah,
from
that's
from a
true.
pro. He'll be
I just
trained to take over the business someday.
I can't imagine at being at school and then having a business meeting with my parent. That would be like very interesting. Can you do that? Can you have lunch with your kid at school? Can you go
I
in?
don't know.
I don't know if that is even a thing.
I never tried. I doubt it these days.
In Florida, not at a public school. You could do it at a private school. I mean, I have one
Oh,
kid in private and one in public, but public, they won't let you in the building.
oh,
You can in California. I
Oh,
don't
you
know if they'd
can.
let you bring a gift though.
That's interesting. Okay, let's go with Phil. Phil, what are you working on this morning or afternoon for you?
Yeah. Hi guys. Hi Chris. Following my stressful day yesterday after losing my helper, my lister, I thought, you know what? Let's just go down this VA route and check out some options. So I reached out to Hammock, and I've been in touch with them. I've scheduled a call tomorrow evening, London time at 5 p.m. Because looking at it, they charge like $1.45 for a listing. I send the photograph and the item condition.
Mm-hmm.
I can put all that in a spreadsheet of some description.
That's right.
And I know you've talked about this before, but maybe I've got to kind of let go and give this a try. That would make life easier for me.
Maybe to help you, you can afford anything for 30 or 90 days. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
So if you don't like it, that's just don't continue.
Well, they've even said, you put a $200 deposit in,
Mm-hmm.
and if you don't like what they've done, they give you a refund anyway.
Yeah.
So there's zero risk as far as I can see.
I feel like y'all owe me a sandwich or something, because in the beginning when they were doing stuff for me, everything was horrible because they didn't know how to do it. So like every single thing was wrong because they were trying to learn how to do it, but it's like it just takes time for them to figure it out. Now it's there's still some problems, obviously, because Don and Jeffrey brought up some issues, and I talked to them, and hopefully they'll set up a customer service facing rep that can just manage all these things, because it's going to get more complicated as they grow. But this is one of those things that everyone in this group does almost the same job. Oh, Daniel, I am going to reach out to LuxSwap because they do $5 million. $5 million a year on consignment. They have internal software, and then they use that other one, which I forgot the name of it. And I'm curious how they manage it, because that's they use hundreds and hundreds of consigners. And Don was mentioning just like one major friend, but I'm wondering, what's it like dealing with hundreds of different customers? That must be complicated.
So yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna give that a go, and there's a process they go through, and they, as you probably know, they do 2 or 3 listings, take a day or 2, and then they send you drafts to look at, and then they just kind of crank it up to a level that you're happy with. So I see that as potentially a really good solution for me, particularly when I've just got 3 pallets coming in tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So that, so if that works well for me, then that will change the dynamics of my business. Consignment. I used your link as well for Hammock.
Thank you.
Consignment. I've done some consignment with clothing. It's from my girlfriend, but she had a clear out. This was a few months ago, 2 months ago. We had about 100 items. They're all $15-ish, let's say, in dollar terms.
mm-hmm.
10, 12 pound sterling. And we have like 20% of them left. They've all gone, trickled out. So I give her 60% after costs because she's my girlfriend. So, you know, I'm trying to be a good guy.
Beautiful. You got to be a good guy.
And she loves it. Every couple of weeks, she gets another £100 into her account, and you know,
that nothing taught me that more than ThreadUp. People sending in designer stuff, getting nothing for it, and they're just so excited. And I can't believe that exists. Send in a Chanel purse and get $100 and just go through the roof. Like, what are you talking about? But yeah, I get it. If people are, but it goes to show on the, you're being a good guy, but like people will it consider it free money.
Yeah.
Well,
you know, and a lot of the things that I listed were really, they weren't her. You know, there was a few designer brands, maybe out of the, I don't know, I don't know how many items there probably were actually, maybe 40 or 50 items, of which maybe a dozen were good quality brands. The rest were just kind of routine, high street, nothing special kind of brands. But if you price them right, they go. You know, so that's my experience of consignment, and it's not big over here. There is definitely an opportunity. I can't do everything. I wish I could, but there's definitely an opportunity. Because when I talk to friends, you know, people ask, "What do you do?" And I've told them that, you know, this is something I've done, and they're kind of interested. Oh, that's cool. And there's definitely, I think, a need for, as you say, well, you know, here's $10 now, you know, or we can hold out and see what we get for it.
Yes, I whenever I get the answer that's interesting, I know I have failed. I don't want that anymore.
Yeah.
I want, how do I do that?
Yeah.
So if I say I'm an online consignment store owner, I own a consignment store, then people can say, "Oh, great, I've got a whole bunch of shit I can give to you." That's how that's kind of the reaction that I want.
Yeah, it's like that 30-second elevator pitch. Kind of, what do you do? And it's got to be, you've got a short space of time to actually get somebody's interest. And so, yeah, so that's what I'm working on right now.
Okay, let's go with Sally. Sally, good morning. What are you improving?
Good morning. I'm improving my listing and a different way of sourcing for different items to sell. Right now, I'm checking around with friends and family, and as I'm buying things off of OfferUp, I'm finding out if they have things that they just want it gone, and go ahead and take that. I made a few sales off of, what did I sell? A remote control cover. So that, I think like 5 hours or something. So it's like, oh, okay. So it's like, okay, I'm going to try a lot of different things, but I like the shoes because I'm going to stick with the shoes also. So I just think I just probably need to put up more things or different things that people might be interested in that I hadn't thought of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go with Cherith. Good morning.
Morning. How are you?
Doing okay. Hopefully this is not information overload for you.
No, actually, oh gosh, I dropped the phone. There I am.
What are you improving?
I'll show you. I'm going to show you what I did something yesterday I'm really excited about.
Okay.
So it's kind of dark. Oh, I have no light in here. I have to open the window. Okay. Hang on 1 second. My kids are just getting up around this time. Okay. So let's see if I can turn it around. Okay, there's my store. This used to be like the corner of my house that was just like awful. So I just cleaned off this whole shelf. It had all, I used to teach like 11 years ago. So now this is where I'm going to keep all my stuff. So this is my challenge. I need to fill up these bins with inventory. And this is going to be my death pile right here. So this is my challenge to I think the biggest challenge I have right now is finding stuff so whatever I'm going to list is going to go in there. So I need to go garage sailing and thrifting. And this is like all of the stuff that I have listed on eBay right now.
I love it.
So a little bit at a time, right? But this is kind of a big, and that's board's going to go up on the wall and have like goals and things like that. Vision board. I might rearrange this yet. And then, so I'm going to work on this yet today. And this is going to be where I ship stuff. So I'm going to print out things from there. And then I need to have some place to keep shipping and materials like that. And then my kids just made a mess of this. But usually what I do is I just have some poster board and I lay it out, and that's how I take my pictures right now. So I'm going to have to improve that eventually too. But it's really cool hearing all of you guys. It's really exciting to like have all this group of people like listening to, like, one day maybe I'll go and be getting computers from like a commercial. Yeah, you never know. But the idea I had from what you guys were talking about was I thought I've thought about this before, but maybe I could go around the neighborhood and just make like a little flyer and say, hey, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I am starting up a little eBay store. If you got anything that you want to donate, I'll come and pick it up. I don't know. I'd have to think about how I want to make that message. But we'll have to see. But that, I thought, maybe someone will donate some stuff for me. So
that is awesome. If you that identity thing is huge, because if you are a stay-at-home mom versus you're a commercial clean-out company, people are going to look at that flyer differently. It's good to think about how you want to represent yourself. And I'm trying to find this lady right now because she's very inspirational. Let me see. Because you sometimes think, oh, it's not selling a computer equipment stuff is a guy thing. But look at this lady. I'll put this link in here. Angie, whatever. She started like thrifting, and then now she has 15 employees selling computer stuff. Wow. Out of nowhere. So it's so cool. And she won Business of the Year, Woman Run Business of the Year, like fastest growing company, all this stuff. So like, but you don't know. You might end up there, right? You can't rule it out. You have no idea.
Yeah.
So let me put
I know.
this in
That's
here.
why I feel like it's so cool to like, I don't know. I feel so blessed that I found this because it's amazing. It's a really it's so cool that there's people that are way on like the far end of things, like already making, a living from this. And then there's people that are just starting. So that's really, really inspirational to hear everybody's stories and like where they're going. And so that's really exciting.
I agree.
But today, what I want to improve. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say today, what I want to improve is I want to finish my setup. And then I was thinking a lot about, I watched a video of yours where you were talking about thinking through improving, not improving, but like, you want to take care of yourself. You want to take care of your relationships, you want to make all these things a priority. So like you were saying in the video that you work out and then you do this call with all these resellers and you spend time with your wife and you do all of that before you even go into your store. And so I was like thinking about that too, like how do I want to structure this? How do I, making sure, because right now I'm like really scattered. I'm like checking my eBay account like 15 times. Oh, I sold a little shirt for $10. And I'm like all excited about it. But I think I need to sort of calm down and structure things so that I'm keeping, having my priorities first, making sure that I'm present and having time with my kids, and then also making sure that I have like a good time, doing things for the eBay store and having a time blocked out for that, like the nap time hustle that you said yesterday.
Yeah, I think that if your family is your important part, then you schedule that first, and everything else goes around it. That's how I think of it. If your business is important first, then your family is go around that. Depends on what your priority is. Let's go with Figgy. Figgy, good morning. Welcome to the call. Where are you located?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi, good morning. I'm actually in Scottsdale, Arizona,
Cool.
and I'm fairly new. I sent you the email to see what this was all about, and I'm kind of like Cherith, was it? I have 2 children. I'm a stay-at-home mom, and the dilemma I have is that like my husband works a lot. Like he works like 5 jobs. He's in the medical field, so he's busy, and I have a hard time balancing the kids because I used to do forensics, and he said you can stay home with the kids if they're your number 1 priority. So for me, it's really hard to make time for the business, and so I guess it's more like a hobby at this point. And I guess the thing I want to improve is to just kind of sell things around the house, just to kind of make some extra money, so that in the future I could invest in something that is going to generate some more money. And wanted to see what you guys do, but it is a little bit overwhelming to hear. I mean, I'm excited and happy for a lot of people here because they've come so far, but it's when you're new, it's kind of like, wow, that's it's a lot to take in.
Absolutely. So what's one small thing you can work on or improve?
Today, I think I have a lot of like boxes. I have an area in the garage that is a little bit disorganized, and I feel like if I just improve that area, it will help me ship faster and just make all the like sizes, just organize everything by sizes. And sometimes I have a hard time trying to find boxes that will fit different items. I just, like I said, I sell stuff around the house, and sometimes she's up early today.
No
So
worries.
yeah, I think that'll kind of be something to do.
Okay. Let's go with Yesenia. Good morning. Sorry, I caught you mid-bite.
No, you're fine. So yesterday I was working on bookkeeping, and I actually have 2 questions that I'd like to ask you about how you bookkeep. The first question is for taxes. Do you include taxes that eBay collects as part of like the total cost, like the total sale cost?
No, I don't.
Okay. And then how do you, when you do the bookkeeping, things that you have like around the house that you sold, that you don't have a receipt for, like when you go to do taxes and stuff, do you just put the cost as 0?
I put the cost of what I paid for it because I want to show a loss, but you could put 0. So whatever. Let me back up. And I'm not an accountant, but what the IRS wants you to put is the market value.
Okay, so kind of what you paid for it.
Not what you paid for it, what you sold it for, essentially. So if you sell it for $20 and you paid 100 for it, they don't want you to put 100 because it's not new. They would have you put 20 as the cost, because that's sort of the thing. Because that's how because if you were to buy it, right, that would be the value now because it's pre-owned.
Okay, got it. So you would kind of look at comps for that?
You could do that, or you could just put what it sells for. That's like if you get audited, which you're not going to ever, then that would be the what they look at it. So like this is preventing people from, like, to use a bigger example, say you bought a car for 50,000 and sold it for 20,000. You can't show the IRS will definitely be like, no, you can't show a $30,000 loss on that car.
Okay.
They're going to say it was worth 20. You sold it for 20. This is a 0 profit. You don't owe any tax on it. Kind of deal. That's how they would look at it.
All right, I got that part. So another quick question, if I could just ask, because I'm new. So I haven't done that much like looking into consignment. I know that was the topic for today, so I was just a little lost. How do you go about, I know they talked about different ways, like contacting friends and family, but want to like find different people to consign for, is there a way of doing that like online?
What I'm going to try and do is run ads on Facebook saying, hey, need some extra money? Look at these things that I sell. If it matches, go to FedEx and drop it off. I'll pay for the shipping.
Okay.
And then we'll go from there. That's what I'm trying to do with the ad. But I'm just testing it right now, but eventually what would be better is if you do the ad and they go to your website and your website explains how you do it personally. And I would just literally copy ThreadUp because they have a fantastic layout for how they do it. So, and then the way they do advertising is like TV commercials, they do it everywhere. But you would need to do some kind of ads. Also, even if you're working with your friends and family, if you have a website, it looks 100 times better.
Okay. And then, so if you, like you running the ads and stuff, if people send you stuff that you don't want, like how you just ship it back to them?
Or donate it.
Okay.
And if it ships back to them, they pay the return shipping.
Oh, got it. All right. Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome. Matt, what's up? What are you improving?
Morning. I am figuring out just how profitable each shipment is.
Okay.
Of 1,800 pounds of jeans. Doing it all in my head.
What do you think?
Because I don't like doing things accounting wise.
What do you think it's worth?
I got a good handle on it. I'm sorry, what?
What do you think 1,800 pounds of jeans is worth profit wise? What do you make per pallet?
Okay, well, it's 2 pallets, but one shipment is 1,800 pounds, which is 1,500 pairs of jeans roughly.
Okay.
If I can pull 250 men's, 250 women, or 250 men's, 200 women's, that will make an average profit of $10 sold on eBay. That's $4,500.
Okay.
Right? Plus I can sell the other 1,000 pairs of jeans that didn't fit that bill for 50 cents each. So I get back $500 there. So that's $5,000. Now the 2 pallets cost me about $1,200. So that's $3,800 per shipment per week.
That's banging. That's awesome.
Yeah, but I gotta list 450 pairs of men's and women's jeans within a week. And I gotta do all the sorting. Not a big deal. I can do that, especially with my girlfriend here helping me.
Okay. That's true. I love looking at it per shipment. So I was thinking of trying to get 100 shoes inbound a day. Yesenia, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to pay as little as I can in ads to get 100 shoes a day to come to me. I don't know how to do that yet, but we'll figure it out. But I think that's important too. Everyone in the group, you don't have to know how to do it. Just pick something and then, adjust along the way. It's never going to turn out how you think it is.
I just realized something. I'm getting almost like $4 per pair of jeans on average. That's insane, man.
Oh,
because a lot of it is just junk,
You got a system. So, Cherith, I have an alarm that goes off at 7:10 saying that it's wife time. So I'm over that today, but let's go with Scott. But I'm saying that's how I schedule my personal time. It's by alarm, so I don't forget. Go ahead, Scott. What are you working on?
Good morning. Good morning. Just real quick, I guess my one improvement is I need to get a clock with a timer and an alarm. Yesterday, as I sat down to do my listing, I started researching, and then the next thing you know, I was 2.5 hours into researching a bunch of stuff, and I really didn't get anything listed. But I still feel like I got a lot accomplished, but I didn't get anything listed because I found one thing and then it led me to another. So I definitely I'm going to go out today, find a clock that's got an alarm, digital clock that I can put right in my area. And if I start doing something, hit the clock, okay, you got a half an hour to look this up and then move from there.
Awesome. Bill? You're on mute.
There we go. All right. Really quick, I'm kind of in the same boat with Cherith and Figgy, where I'm kind of trying to get things rolling. And so one of the things that I wanted to accomplish the day before was to at least get a table and a photography area together. So I did that, and I took some pictures with my iPhone, and I'm working with the adjustments because I really want to start listing a bunch of stuff. And I have a lot of stuff because I'm taking everything out of my storage unit right now, and I'm sorting through everything and then putting it back while creating my work area. So because I have a daytime job, it's just amazing how little time you have. I mean, because when you get off work, you come and you eat, and then it's like, wow, I've got about 2 hours. So getting up in the morning with the group here has been very helpful. But anyway, so today what I wanted to do after work was to start working on the listing side so I can get something regular going here. And even just starting now and listening to a lot of your videos, I can see what everyone is talking about in terms of, wow, I've got to get somebody to list. I've got to get somebody to do pictures and pricing so that I can focus on sourcing and getting something regular going here. So really appreciate that. And in terms of the consignment, it's kind of interesting, and the junk removal. I've got a guy here. I'm a self-storage manager, so I got a guy here that I became friends with about 4 years ago, and his job was he's in demolition. And I'm like, demolition, what do you do? He goes, well, real estate agents will have to, on foreclosures, go into the house to assess value, but they really want to get rid of everything. And so I'm the demolition guy that goes in there and gets rid of everything. And I said, so what do you do with the stuff? He goes, I normally just go to the junkyard. He goes, but I keep all these things, and I'm like, so he started showing me all the stuff in his unit, small little purses that were handmade, coins, and a lot of tools that people leave. He goes, gosh, there's so many tools. So when you're talking about how you can go and remove people's stuff and junk, I think you should go after the guys who do that, because they're the ones, they're going to do that heavy lifting job, but they want to get rid of that stuff, but they can't throw it away. So that's interesting. So I think if you offer them penny on the dollars, that would be something. Even if you take it, it's cheaper than paying the dump. So I mean, it makes sense if you want to be that. I was talking to Jackie yesterday about the question that you should ask is, what happens if it doesn't sell? Then, it goes to the junkyard. Great. Let me step in there and save you the trip, and you pay me to take it. You know what I mean? That's the ultimate hustle. Well, Jeffrey Anderson says that his number one focus for the rest of the year is health. I agree with that. Take care of yourself if you can. Try to do some self-care if you have it. Do that first, and then I will. Do you guys want to chat? I'm going to take off. Okay, thank you.
All right, see you guys.
All right, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Bye.
See you guys.
Bye.